Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, let's talk about Kanye West or Ye. I feel stupid saying Ye. It's just a stupid sounding name. I have never been a big fan of Kanye West. I've never liked it. I don't have any like for his music. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his personality. I don't like his face. He's one of those people that I've talked about this before. It's nothing personal. Just there's times when we see somebody and you just don't like that person. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that look at me and don't like me. I know there's people. As a matter of fact, I read your comments. But that being said, I wasn't going to talk about this story because it's disgusting. It really is. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. I'm 57. I'm going to be 58, 4 or 5 months. And I don't know if I'm getting older. I don't know if I would have found this story humorous or risque or even sexy if back in my 20s. And I'm going to warn you guys right now. Usually I pick a story that the reason I pick a story is because I can relate to the story because something similar has happened to me. Yes, and I'm going to talk about that. So the first thing I want to say, though, is I don't know if it's because I am 57 years old. And in this picture, okay, let me start at the very beginning here. Kanye West and his girlfriend slash wife, common law wife, I don't know, it wasn't an official ceremony. Back in January, his model girlfriend, Bianca Censori, were in Venice, Italy, the island village, the island city. And they were on a boat. I'm sure you guys have seen this. I don't know if I'm explaining this to people that have already seen. Most of you have already seen this. And you can rent a boat and go through the canals of Venice. That's how you get around in this city. And when I first saw this picture, I didn't know what it was. Again, I don't know if I'm getting old and I'm getting naive or what. I'm getting naive as I get older or what. But when I looked at it, at first I was like, geez, I thought that pants, that low pants thing, where the kids show their underwear and wear their pants low. I was like, geez, this is good. Is this back in style? I thought that had passed a long time ago. Plus you usually see the underwear. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I really did not know what was going on in this picture. It looked disgusting to me. I did not want to see. I thought about what I was going to say now. And I do not want to see Kanye West's black, hairy backside. And I thought about saying that, am I racist saying that? And I don't think so, because if it was a white guy, I'd say I don't want to see your pale white, hairy butt. If it was a, whatever color you are, I don't want to see, if you're a guy, or maybe some women, I don't want to see your hairy backside, going down, sitting in a boat, going down a car, a boat, a motorcycle, a bus, anywhere. I mean, it's disgusting to me. It really is. And in public transportation and your backside, and especially, what crossed my mind? There's another story about a plane that had to return to Atlanta, and I'm not going to talk much about this. I'll put the link down below because it is super disgusting. And the two of these stories together just gross me out, and I didn't want to talk about any of this. But now new pictures have popped up, and I've got some opinions about this. I do. I think Kanye West is a disgrace to the country. And he is, the way he's treating his girlfriend and his kids and his ex-wife. I think it's disrespectful. I really do. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old or what. The first thing that came to my mind, when I first saw this picture, I had no idea what was going on. I think I've already thought that he's got a screw loose. Honestly, I've always thought that. I remember reading something, I don't know if this is true or not, but was he in some kind of quad accident where he messed up his face, he hit a fence or something, or am I mistaking that story? I don't know. And I always thought he was a little, something was loose in his head. So the fact that he's going on a boat ride with his pants down to his thighs didn't really surprise me any. It grossed me out, but it didn't surprise me any. Like I said, this is public transportation, man. Your backside, where other people sit, where other people might put their food, for crying out loud, man. And it grosses me out on so many levels. But as Americans, when you travel outside this country, whether you accept it, whether you want it or not, you are a representative. You are a symbol of the country that you're coming from. You are a symbol of America. You're a symbol of all of us. And when you do stuff like this, you embarrass all of us. It's no wonder that the rest of the country has a dislike or distaste or bad ideas about Americans. It's because of stuff like this. We go places and we just assume, some of us just assume that we could do anything, because I assume because he's rich. I don't think most people would do this, but because he's wealthy and he's just used to doing whatever he wants and saying whatever he wants, and getting away with it, and he's got billions of dollars and he can buy anybody's opinion or anybody the right to do anything. He thinks he can get away with it. And he represents this country. When people look at him, the rest of the people, the people of Venice, Italian people, look at him, they see an American citizen. The next American that goes there, they're going to remember Kanye West, or Ye. He is an embarrassment to this country. I'm not even going to bring up the fact that he thinks he's running for president. Because if he's running for president, man, anybody that votes for this has got to screw loose themselves, and that's my opinion. Now, I don't know what else I could say about this. Like, what if a person from another country and their girlfriend, same kind of situation? What if they came here to America? What if they came to New York City? What if they took a ride? Let's see, we have the ferry boats going around Manhattan here, and there's pictures of Japanese tourists doing this on a ferry going around New York City, or Canadian tourists, or Mexican tourists, because God knows the right, and Donald Trump and Mexican people. What if it was anybody from any other country? We would lose it. We would ban them from this country. What makes them think they can come here? Our kids, oh no, the children will see this, these perverts, these animals. And that's what they think when they see this. They think their impression of America and Americans is that we're animals and that we just copulate anywhere we feel like freaking animals. And I'm not, once again, this I would say this, whatever color, whatever race, whatever sex you are, you shouldn't be doing this in public, man. The fact that he had his face covered, and then this picture came out today, and Bianca Censori is down underneath him in his lap. And I looked at her facial expression. I've told you guys this before. I look at people's facial expressions, like when I see Trump supporters or whatever. I always look right into their faces, their eyes, to see emotion, to see who they are, to get a feel for who they are. I've talked a lot about empathy on here. And her face, she looks sad. She looks scared. She looks like he is some kind of trafficker, like he's trafficking her with his face covered. And her expression, she's like a deer in headlights. She's like she's scared or something. And then she gets out of our taxi, and he's got his face all covered. So nobody knows who he is. So this whole thing is covered. In his mind, it's covered up for him. But his wife is just walking in public now with the guy that he was down between his legs, and then the fact that he's got his hand on the back of her head, and she, like I said, her expression, it does not look good for him. It looks like it's his idea. Let's just say it that way. I don't want to say he's not forcing her, but it definitely looks like he's in control of the situation. Let me say it that way. And that just looks even worse, the way he's treating her, his woman. What about his kids? His kids are going to see this. His ex-wife is going to see this. His kids are going to go to school. Hey, I saw your dad on the boat with his girlfriend. Can you freaking imagine that? And there's boats going behind him. There's people around him. It's a crowded city. And his backside is sitting right there on the back of the boat. He's got to hear the boats going behind him, the water, the boats. He's got to know that there's people all around him, and yet he doesn't care. And then he parades. While he covers his face, he parades his girlfriend out there while she just has shame and God knows what else all over her face. That's my opinion of this, man. I do not have a high opinion of this. Okay, now, like I said, this is more of a confession than I'm not bragging here, because I've done stupid things when I was younger. I used to drive a truck for a magazine company. I've told you that I used to deliver adult magazines to adult bookstores for a big magazine company, Hudson News, Yankee News, up here, New York City, Connecticut, the whole tri-state area. And I drove one of those big newspaper trucks. They look like a oversized armored car, and they have sliding doors. And there's one. It looks like a UPS truck, basically. It looks like a UPS truck on steroids, is what it looks like. And I was driving one of those. The doors open. It was summertime, and this is back at least 20, 30 years ago. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and we were living together. And she met me at lunchtime on my route at a lake. Like a lake park in the parking lot. And I pulled up, and there's just one seat in this truck. If you've seen the UPS trucks, there's one seat where the driver sits, and it's kind of high up. And she jumped in the car when I got there. It was about 1:30 or 2 p.m. It was a late lunch. And later I had noticed there was parents in the parking lot waiting for their kids to get dropped off. The school bus, it was a school bus stop. It was my school bus stop. As a matter of fact, it's where I waited for a kid when I was back in junior high school. It's my bus stop. But I was facing up towards the lake, away from the back end of the truck was pointed towards the bus stop. It was like at least a half football field away from all that stuff behind me. And she hopped up in the truck, and all of our clothes on, and she sat in my lap. She decided to get up and face me, straddling me, with all of our clothes on the whole time. And we were glad to see each other. There was some public affection, kissing and stuff. That was it, though. I swear to God. I get back to of course, the company's name is written on the side of the truck. And I was just meeting my girlfriend for lunch. I wasn't even on company time, so I did not expect to have any problem with this. I didn't expect to be called on the carpet, so to speak. And I get back to the warehouse, and my boss, who I had, this is back when I was using too, and my boss was a attorney and an ex-sergeant, a drill sergeant in the Marines. Attorney and an ex-drill sergeant. So he was just a head game, playing head games, aggressive nut job. And he calls me up into the office, and it's a big, huge. He reminds me of Donald Trump, honestly. Big, huge carpeted office with trophies and animal heads on the wall. Seriously, and he says, "Daryl, a parent called me today. He said you were having sex in my truck." That's exactly what he said to me, which is, I was like, what? And I didn't even know what he was talking about. So apparently one of these parents had seen me and my girlfriend, who I lived with and everything. She met me for lunch, and she was happy to see me. We were totally clothed and everything, but then I get called. Apparently this parent was offended. And like I said, we were facing away from the kids, and the whole bus stop was on the other side of like a football field size parking lot, and I was on one end of it, and the bus and the road was on the other end. So it must have just been one parent driving up on a side street that's having to see this and read the number, take the number down, and everything. I think looking back, I think that my boss told me that the police were called and they showed up, but I was already gone. So they decided to let my boss handle this, the Marine sergeant. And I told him flat out. I told him, I said, no, what we were really doing. And I said, look, if I was going to have sex, I would have gotten in the back of the truck. It's a lot more comfortable and it's more private, And I've always been honest to a fault sometimes, and I guess that did convince him, because it was the truth. There was big cardboard boxes with magazines, that thrown in there that I occasionally got naps back there. It was so comfortable. So, and it's private and everything. And it was the truth. I said I would have just gone a couple steps to the back, and if that was the case. And I think I had done that before, but not in this case. This reminds me of another time too, where he called me up in the office. Same guy, same boss. He said, Daryl, I got a call from somebody's parents today. They said that you were selling Colombia's export, let's just say, leave it at that, to his daughter. And if he catches you, he's gonna. This is what he said to me, and this is what I said to my boss. I was using at the time. I said, no, if I was selling, I wouldn't be working here. I wouldn't be driving the car I'm driving. I would have a lot more money. I said, I wouldn't be, and I was just very frank with him. I did end up getting fired from that job. It was a great job, a Teamster job. It was 917 out of Manhattan, Teamsters. And It was a phenomenal job, but eventually I came in and they knew I used on Wednesdays. We got paid on Thursdays, but I would steal my check early and spend the whole thing on Wednesday night, and I'd come in with totally broke after going through a whole check and hungover, no sleep, and driving a truck on Thursday. And they, as soon as I walked in that next morning, finally they said, "Oh, you got a drug test today, Daryl," and I failed it. And I promptly got fired from that job. And there's more to that story, but I'll tell you that some other time. All right, let me know what you think about Kanye West. I think he's an embarrassment to America, first and foremost. He's an embarrassment to the country. He's an embarrassment to his kids. He's an embarrassment to his ex-wife. And he disgraces and embarrasses his current girlfriend, who he uses in public in this fashion. Disgraceful, disgusting. That's my opinion of it. Let me know what you think. I'll be back later. I will be back later with another video today. Have a good Wednesday.